Let's try to align this like that, and I think that's good. Okay, let's do it. What's up people, it's Wasabi and I'm back with another video. With the new V4 Pro out, you got 3 solid options: the brand new DeathAdder V4 Pro, the older DeathAdder V3 Pro, and the smaller and budget-friendly DeathAdder V3 HyperSpeed. Well, there are a few more options, but these are the only ones that I have, so let's take a look. They all share a similar name and shape, but the differences is in the specs, the size, and the price that should keep you on the fence between choosing one over the other. Now I want to keep this video short and simple to just help you decide which one's right for you, so let's get into it. First, let's talk about the shape and weight, because that is the key differentiator here. The V4 Pro and the V3 Pro share the exact same large ergonomic shape. You already own the V3 Pro, the V4 Pro will feel very much the same in the hand, but the main difference would be in the weight. The V4 Pro comes in at about 57 grams, while the V3 Pro has a bit more weight at about 63 grams. The V3 HyperSpeed, on the other hand, is a slightly smaller version of this shape, which I would say is much better for smaller hands or gamers who want a form factor that, in my opinion, is a lot easier to do micro adjustments. So it's got a smaller size, and it also comes in at a very competitive 55 grams, making it the lightest option of the 3. Now, if you're not so sure if the big ones will fit your hand, for my hand size of 17.5 by 9, the DeathAdder V3 Pro and the V4 Pro are very big in the hand. And from what I researched online, it seems that hand sizes up to 18-19 cm in length find the DeathAdder V3 and V4 too large. So that's all the information that I could find. If you have a preference for using large mice, I think that's perfectly okay. Another thing I want to mention is that if you use the DeathAdder V3 Pro or the V4 Pro and find it way too large, do not force your grip onto it, because that would cause a lot of discomfort and you could injure your hand in the long term. The switches and scroll wheel, this is where we see some of the biggest changes, especially regarding durability. The V4 Pro features the new Gen 4 optical switches. They feel crisp, but as I mentioned in my review, they are a bit flat and the right click can sound thinny. The biggest upgrade is the scroll wheel, which uses an optical encoder. And this should fix the long-term reliability issues that plague the V3 Pro. But the V3 Pro, it uses Gen 3 optical switches, which many people are a bit 50-50 about it. The ratio optical switches in the V3 Pro tend to get mushy over time, and they do feel a little less crisp than the Gen 4. The main weakness of the DeathAdder V3 Pro is the mechanical scroll wheel encoder, which has been known to fail over time. Mine still works, but it does sound very loose and rattly. And then you got the V3 HyperSpeed, which also uses Gen 3 opticals, though I gotta say the clicks here feel much better than the other two. And if you can see here, it's got a much fatter and stubbier scroll wheel design that I really love a lot. And on the inside, it uses a mechanical TTC encoder, which has proven to be more reliable than the one in the V3 Pro. Scrolling feels a lot tighter and scroll clicking is very good as well. Now, regarding the performance and battery, which I think is pretty important for people who look into this mice, the V4 Pro is the top performer on paper. You get true 8K pulling out of the box with the included hyper pulling dongle and the new 45K DPI sensor. Battery life is also the best in class at up to 150 hours at 1000 Hz. The V3 Pro comes with the standard HyperSpeed wireless receiver. Its sensor is also the older 30K version, and the battery life is around 90 hours at 1000 Hz. Then you got the V3 HyperSpeed, which is a pretty interesting one. It's limited to 1K pulling out of the box, but it is compatible with the hyper pulling dongle for up to 8000 Hz pulling rate if you choose to upgrade later, just like the V3 Pro. What's interesting is the sensor is a 26K DPI model, but this sensor is no slouch. It performs great, and the battery life performance at 1000 Hz is a solid 100 hours. My honest opinion, using all 3 of these with the same settings. I didn't perform better or worse because of the specs. What really affected me was because of the size and the shape. Oh, and another very important thing, at least for me, is the coating. The DeathAdder V3 Pro at its most basic option for the black and white model. It does not have the smooth touch coating of the Viper V3 Pro, the DeathAdder V3 HyperSpeed, or the DeathAdder V4 Pro. So if a grippy coating is very important for you, I suggest you skip the most basic option of the DeathAdder V3 Pro. On the other hand, they do have a bundled option of the black version, which has a grippy coating and it includes the hyper-pulling dongle. The DeathAdder lineup over the years has been very confusing. Alright, so let's tie this all together with the most important factor, which is the price. The DeathAdder V4 Pro is a premium option at an MSRP of $169.99. You're paying for the latest tech and it includes an 8K polling rate dongle and the durability improvements like the optical switch encoder and the new optical switches as well. So if you have the budget and you want the absolute best DeathAdder with the lowest chance of hardware failure, this is the one to go for. But again, only if you're fine with using a large mouse. For the DeathAdder V3 Pro, it can often be found on sale for I believe around $100. If you can find it at that price, I think it's pretty good value. If you get a good copy, it still is a fantastic mouse and there are many pros who are still on it. And then for the DeathAdder V3 HyperSpeed, it usually sits around $85 to $100, and for that price, you get a 55-gram mouse with clicks that feel the best out of the three for me. So if you're on a budget or have slightly smaller hands, this is arguably the smartest buy in the lineup right now. The DeathAdder V3 HyperSpeed would be the best option for me because of the size. Before I started this channel, I was on the DeathAdder V3 Pro and it is a large mouse and took me a while to get used to it. So going to the V4 Pro, it didn't feel too unfamiliar, but I think if you have a medium to small hand size, the DeathAdder V4 Pro would not feel the best, especially for FPS because handling a large mouse makes micro adjustments a little more difficult. So as good as the tech is, and this one has the best tech on the market right now, I would recommend to prioritize comfort and control over the mouse. Personally, I would recommend choosing either the V4 Pro or the V3 HyperSpeed. I feel like the DeathAdder V3 Pro started to become sort of outdated when the DeathAdder V3 HyperSpeed was released, and now that the V4 Pro is out with the durability upgrades and the coating as well, the DeathAdder V3 Pro just comes off a little outdated in comparison. Anyway, that's my 2 cents on the topic, and thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video or found it helpful in any way, please leave a like and subscribe to support my channel, and I guess I'll see you in the next one.